about shoes. So it's just huh?
We're just something.
What do you guys think?
To do this every day.
That's the idea. Every Wednesday. Every Wednesday we can dress up like this. Okay?
So
Just smart casual.
for the last Wednesday, we're gonna have an undershirt but not a different colors.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Keep charming Corbin, and you'll probably get a different shirt. So, all right. Still, we have. I would just like to, as we talked about effective meetings, I hope you're beginning to see something with your presidency. We'll discuss today that would somehow recap and put them together. So we'll just make this as strong and short as we can. But we left out the last commandment for effective meetings, so we'll just go with that. We'll start with what we left off last week. The 10th commandment. Zobu, can you read that first, please?
Thou shalt terminate a regularly scheduled meeting when its purpose for being no longer exists.
I hope we would be able to recognize this, that meetings are not, we're not having meetings for the sake of reporting that we met. I hope, can you remember what the purpose of the meeting? Last week, and with the article that is uploaded to Canvas, Harvard narrowed down to 3 principles of what's the purpose of a meeting? What makes meetings meaningful? Anybody remember? There's objective. Yeah. In business, meetings have 3 primary purposes: communicating, administering, and deciding. So just a reminder, when those 3 purposes are not in the meetings, then there is no more purpose for that, and I hope we just make meetings meaningful. Now let's go to the next. What we're going to be talking a lot today is events planning. And if you remember the why, what, how, 3-step process in understanding more meanings to giving meaning to what we do. So let me just ask you this. Last week we asked the question, why do we meet? Remember that video clip I shared with you of Patrick Lencioni explaining what meetings are for leaders? Remember what he said? Remember that analogy that he even, that if I can only, for a surgeon, that if I don't have to do surgery and stuff, it would be fun to be a doctor. But he said, leaders, what do we do as leaders? We meet, because that's when everything happens. And so, just a quick recap, why, what, and how. So how about with events? In general, why do we plan activities?
To meet.
Why do you plan activities? We're talking of events now.
To fulfill your members' needs.
To fulfill your members' needs. Let's always go back to, as we give meaning and understanding the why of things, as BYU, as part of BYU, the simplest way to find meaning in everything we do is to always go back to the objective, to our mission. So in reference to the BYU mission, why do we plan activities? Because in general, we plan activities to assist, to meet, to have fun, but as part of the BYU system.
To build a leadership skills?
To build leadership skills. So Nani, you want to
Yeah, I was gonna say to increase spiritual and physical and educational leaderships.
Correct. As a matter of fact, before we move further, I just forgot the shirt. We're giving away a shirt today to whoever can stand up here and recite the BYUH mission.
You should have said that.
T-shirt up for grabs. Anyone? Well, this one is for someone who can recite. Anyone? The mission. Oh, Sonali, come here.
Maybe not.
Just quickly. And then for the whole semester, anyone who would stand up here and recite the BYUH mission gets an alumni shirt. Okay? Alright, Sonali. We have a brave soul here.
Maybe not.
Not okay. Alright.
Oh, maybe.
Okay, maybe not.
You go first. You go first.
So you go first.
You go first.
Come
You're closer.
Go ahead.
Don't waste time.
Alright, let's do it. Because our
Okay,
lesson
we'll do it
today is
together,
not
we'll do it
about
together.
reciting. Alright, do it together.
Do it together. So
one check.
when you miss something, I'll try to catch it, but I don't know anything.
Okay.
Okay. The mission of BYU Hawaii is to integrate
Secular and spiritual learning and to prepare
students to
who have with character and
To establish.
integrity
to build leadership communities in their families and in their
chosen field.
Anybody can recite it like that.
And in building the kingdom of God. I get a shirt. They don't get a shirt. Alright, we'll charge them to memorize it some more so that they can get the real price for the shirt. So anyway, t-shirts are up for grabs to anyone who can come up here and recite them in class, okay?
So we decided to go to takeaway.
Just like what Stacy mentioned, it's not the reason why we plan activities for at BYU is to provide meaningful leadership experience. I hope we will remember that as much as we can. The next time we plan activities, it's not just for the sake of having one. If we're not providing meaningful leadership activities, leadership experience, then maybe we're not accomplishing fully our mission. We're definitely accomplishing something, but in reference to our being a part of BYU, then I hope you see that as you involve the chapters, anyone who's involved in activity planning, that they will get something out of it. And so we go down to how. There's a document uploaded on Canvas on how to plan an activity. We won't discuss a lot about this, but I'll share something more practical. But you can share this to your activities chairman. Does anyone here has an activities chairman in their chapters?
Yeah, we don't have it.
Sort of?
Yeah.
Or,
Call it, Chair.
Yeah.
okay, activities guy. What do you call them? Activities committee. For those who don't have one, we strongly recommend. Because if you don't have an activities committee, then who is the activities committee? You.
Yeah.
Again, we're trying to organize ourselves in such a way that we are playing the role that we should be playing, and then involving others. So in that document, it'll show you how to identify activity, planning the activity, prior to the activity, day of the activity, and after the activity. But let me share with you something in the short time that we have, something a little more practical. This is actually your homework for this week. Your homework for this week is rubber band and sandwich. If you can remember those two simple items, then rubber band and sandwich. Let me start with the rubber band. This is now the how. How can we, let's remember that as we choose on the action item of how we plan activities, let's always attach it to why we're doing it. Why are we planning activities again at BYU?
Leadership experience.
To provide leadership experience for everybody, and then we enjoy the benefits. And in doing that, let me propose there's a lot of disciplines and techniques and models, but let me propose this, and let's try this for 1 week. And I call this the rubber band leadership connection. This is the simple model for the rubber band leadership connection. Who would this represent? In the middle. You. And when you say you, us, the president of the chapter. Who would this be? The what committees do you have?
We have activity, and we have the hospital fund.
So activity, and then spiritual, physical, emotional, all those all. But as far as our organizational structure is concerned, there should at least be 3 that are present here. Which are,
Placement.
you have placement,
And mentor.
Mentor will be spiritual.
mentorship, and
Fellowship.
fellowship. So all of these, they have activities when you're planning activities. The reason why this is actually a simplified version of all the different integrated disciplines. But I hope you would see yourself as president, never leaving your post. And it's just like, you know, when you have the rubber band, no matter, you're always connected. No matter how much you stretch it, it should always stretch back, right? So, your committee, spiritual, I hope you identify, put names in here. And then your communication, or your connection is always just going back and forth. So last week we talked about my proposal for meetings to be shorter is not to discuss everything in that meeting. My proposal to everybody, which I've seen effective, is have every committee meet separately. And then they go, so you charge them to meet separately, and they go back to your presidency, to your General Assembly meeting with reports. And so if you can experience this and see for yourself, there should be no reason why you should be taking their position. And to add some, let me add this one last component, which is the sandwich model. And then let's have some discussion, and I want to hear your comments. What would drive this would be the sandwich interaction model. And let me just identify the sandwich to you and what these represent as you interact. At least three components. But the reason why it's a sandwich is because both the top and the bottom, they're the same. What you do is the same. In everything, as we interact with them and we build that connection, we're always delegating. But as mentioned last week, delegating is very different with abdicating. Abdicating is you tell them and then you just let them be. Delegating is a more intensive process. And in between the feelings, which actually makes meaning to when you give assignment, is you delegate and then you ask for report and always give support. And so if you'll look at this little diagram, and as you meet and you have events that you need to get done, you delegate that event with the understanding of what the objective is for that activity. And as you delegate, you ask them to report back to you. And then as they report back, hopefully, and you give them the support, and you keep delegating up until the activity is, or the event is done, or it has been accomplished. Now, just so you would remember, this simple model, we actually got sandwiches for you guys.
Yes.
You don't want any sandwiches? Not enough people?
It's so good to be true.
We did, and we made it even special. We got some chocolate flavored sandwiches. And anyone here have tasted chocolate flavored sandwiches? No? No? They're called Oreos. You don't believe me? Lauren, can you please read what it says here on the bottom?
Chocolate sandwich cookies.
Sandwiches. So just grab one. But this is not for snacks. I want you to eat just one. What you need to eat is just one for now. You can have the rest. I don't want your leftovers.
Thank you.
Open it, eat one. Eat it the way you want it. Good? Eat just one. Just one piece.
Got milk? I'm going to eat again.
Alright, my only question is, the reason why I asked you to eat only one is, how did you guys eat that one piece of Oreo? Or sandwich, chocolate sandwich?
One bite.
One bite. Why did you eat it one bite only? Did anyone here eat it differently than just one bite? How did you eat it?
I ate the white thing for this.
You ate the white things first? It's a white person watches too much American commercials, yeah?
Oh yeah, it's a mercy.
Now, huh?
2 bites.
You ate it 2 bites.
Half it.
Okay, my question is, that sandwich represents your events. And there are events that you can just eat with one bite. And these are the small events that you do. What would be an example, practical example of it? What are the easiest activities that you set up?
Gospel from.
Gospel form. That one you can just eat it with one bite. Even if you're sleeping, you can set up a gospel forum. And that's why all your gospel forums are perfect, right? Yes. Isn't that funny? It's a small activity. And what are the major activities?
Opening social.
Opening socials, closing socials,
Middle social.
culture night, Eagles Fest. There are some events that are bigger, different levels.
Like the World Fest.
That the World Fest. And you may need to bite on them, chew on them a little bit more than just one time. What do I mean by this? Your spiritual committee, you delegate, you assign them to, let's make this real. When you talk to your spiritual committee, what do you delegate to them? What do you tell them? You do it. Let's be real. What do you really tell them? Do you give them any specific instructions, or you just tell them gospel farm is coming up? You better make it happen.
Like for myself, I just say we have gospel forum this month on that day, and we need speakers, we need that, we need that, we need that, we need that. Who wants to find the speakers? Who want to find the, because I don't want to assign them.
Okay, correct. Good. So at least you tell them what is expected. Noah?
Pretty much something like that. I tell the person the objective that we need to reach.
Very good.
Not the pattern to follow. There might be areas very important that we need to hit, but the objective is the most important thing, and I let him govern himself.
Very good. And that should just be one bite. You tell him your objectives, What are the expectations? Maybe I feel that the theme, or can you present a new theme this coming gospel forum? And he should be able to report to you. You know, we met as a committee. The theme we feel is this. We thought of this person. We will do this, and then hopefully it should just be easy. You give it back to them as you can support. And then you can enjoy that one bite of sandwich model. But there are events this cycle will take more than one time. But if you'll observe, don't forget the rubber band. You don't leave your post. You just keep have that connection. And so, but they'll keep reporting back to you. And hopefully this becomes regular. What seems to be the most effective meeting times for you guys? When we talk of regular, what does that mean? What's the frequency for your presidency?
Same time.
Yeah. Weekly? Once a month? If you are to be really informed, what would be a regular meeting for you guys?
Every week.
Every week. Does it have to be face to face?
No.
Right. We actually have a very small campus here. I would recommend to have whatever is suitable for everybody, to have that regular meeting where you really meet but this interaction right here can happen every single day through email. The idea is that you should be informed in everything that's happening. And it can go into the process of, because you would know. If you talk about this, they come back, the report is not complete. So then you can delegate some of the assignments that have not been done, offer that support. You can decide when the activity should be done. So I would just like to, this is actually pretty straightforward, even simplified, integrated with a lot of principles of effective meetings, project management. Project management is very detailed. You start with a project charter, which is, we'll simply call it objective, and then everybody's given an assignment, and then this process goes on and on up until the project closes down, because all of the objectives have been met. So your assignment for this week is try and experience this process. You don't have to do this, but what I'm just asking you is try it. And if it does not make a difference in how you organize every single event, that's why it's real. I can just simply tell you guys, you don't have to be doing all of the activities. And you can just simply build a leadership connection that is driven by a model of delegation, reporting, supporting, and then giving back that process up until the whole sandwich is eaten up. Okay? All right, I'll give you the instructions on Canvas tomorrow. Before we end, we'll use a few minutes. Does this look familiar?
Yeah, proposal.
This is actually, yeah, they look more, it has been revised to look new, to look professional. If you observe, everything is being branded in the Student Alumni Association chapters to be on a professional mode. The way we look, the way we act, the way we interact and deal with our chapter members. We'll spend the last 2 minutes mastering this simple proposal form. Is there anything that is, I'd like you to look at that proposal form. It hasn't changed much, but let's finalize once and for all why this proposal form. You look at that proposal form and you explain to me and Corbin Why the why of that proposal form?
More specific?
Yeah. For example, why do you need to put the date and time?
Sure, that's why you can put the rules.
Yeah, to reserve the rooms. So, yeah, 2 minutes. So, okay, just to clarify, what we'll do here in the next 2 minutes is just clarify as much as we can. If you send in a proposal, especially when it's late, when should you send in a proposal?
A week maybe?
1 week. If you send it in less than a week and you forgot to put the date and time, then it cannot be processed. It becomes longer because we have to call you and ask you when it is, because we can't reserve a room. And sometimes you think of a room and you had an initial discussion, and when the date and time and someone books it, then because we have the whole BYU booking room, the other departments as well. Okay, what are other critical points in that proposal form? Risk management. Why are we having risk management sign that? For safety and off campus. Is there any need for explanation for that? Have you heard of cases where BYU is sued by students because they went off campus and they claim that they're BYU, so they should be under the care of BYU. Something happened to them. So the reason why is so that Brother Yamamoto can advise you on what to do with off-campus guidelines. So, anything else? How about the financials?
Cool.
Why does your student accountant need to sign it?
Because it's the one taking care of all the reports and findings.
So you don't have to be asking if you have money or not. Your student accountant. Who has student accountants here? And have they gone to LOPA? There's still quite a few binders there. That means probably about 10 more student accountants who have not gone to for their training. Again, you already have a lot of tasks to do. This is not an easy thing to do. And if you're still doing the finances, then that means it's taking away from what you should be doing as the president. Any other questions with that events proposal? None? So, to conclude with that events proposal, which is a critical part of understanding, if that is already clear as you work with your particular committees, then the objective is already established. So, to end, well, with the events proposal, the conclusion is, can you join? Can we have a shared vision that we will have perfect events proposal submitted? Possible?
Yes.
Okay, we don't have a whip at the office if your proposal is not correct, but let's work together in setting a goal for the semester to have perfect, well, very good proposal submitted so that we can assist you in a systematic manner as well.
There is no room for the carnival that's coming up because it is a yearly participation for the carnival.
The carnival,
What day is the carnival?
November 10th.
November?
Do they have to fill out a proposal?
I know you have to, I would imagine you have to fill one out with BUHSA, and I think you should fill one out with us as well. But we'll have to get back to you on that.
So, just check your assignments tomorrow. I'll post it tomorrow, but your assignment is try this one. We'll give you more guidelines, but the idea is just to try this and see if it makes a difference in your events planning. Thank you. We'll close today with instructions, announcements from BYU HSA, the BYU president.
All right, brothers and sisters, aloha.
Aloha.
Sunday. How many of you guys have ever heard of, first of all, thank you so much for letting us be a part of your meeting tonight. I know it's been late. and thank you. Have any of you guys ever heard of the event called Choose to Give? Raise your hand if you have. Okay.
I have.
Okay, heard of it? Probably seen T-shirts of people wearing Choose to Give logos or whatnot. So our purpose tonight is to